Multi-effects. While perfectly capable as standalone devices, some tonal magic can be unlocked when we get multiple systems working together. For the ultimate experience in function, portability, and utility, here's how we can build an all-digital multiple multi-effects pedalboard from scratch. This video idea came from some comments and DMs asking me to go through in detail how I will build a pedalboard containing the HX Stomp and the ToneX one. Full and fair disclosure, because of how thorough it is, it's going to be a very long video where I take you through the entire rig building process. Planning, building, programming, testing, and refining. You'll see every cable being drawn, every pedal plugged in, and the sounds being crafted in real time so you won't miss anything. Use the timestamps below to navigate between sections when you need specific help. Let's get started with planning. Right now, we're in pre-planning, which is an opportunity for you to really count the cost when it comes to building a pedalboard. And I mean literally, because there are hidden costs to a project like this. Much like buying a house where you're not just covering mortgage payments but monthly living expenses and maintenance, a pedalboard system consists of 4 P's: pedals, pedalboard, patch cables, power supply. I'm going to be upfront, a full-sized flagship Helix floor has all of those components and costs less than the smaller pedalboard that you're going to see. But I wanted flexibility to integrate other effects and similar performance on a smaller form factor. Yes, you do pay a price for lighter weight. So if you're still convinced that a pedalboard is the way to go, you need to know that every item on that list is important, and your tone is going to sound as good as the weakest link in that chain. I speak from personal experience. Bargain bin patch cables and power supplies are going to result in a noisy rig, maybe even some tone loss. There are lots of mid-tier to premium options for patch cables and power supplies, so please do your research and try them out at a shop where you can. I think a good ballpark figure of how much to spend on these is to match them with your pedalboard cost. My mono small pedalboard and case came in at $300, so I spent about $150 on Ernie ball patch cables and $150 on a Chox DC7. But wait, we need engineering plans for how we're going to design this system, and for that, we need a computer. Welcome to the planning process. This is where you should be spending a lot of your time. As the old adage goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You have a certain amount of pedalboard rail estate. You have to match the space that you want with the space that you have. And of course, take into consideration all the logistical issues that come with a bigger pedalboard. If you choose a bigger board, it is going to accommodate a lot more pedals, going to have a lot more options, but it's going to be a lot more complicated to tweak, and it's going to be a killer on your back. So for this video's exercise, as well as for subsequent videos where I'm going to be doing a few more things with the gear on hand, I am going to go with a mono small. It's not big, it fits into a mono club accessory case. My goal for this board is to fit the 2 HX Stomps as well as my 2 ToneX 1 pedals. I'm going to have this hybrid M modeling M capture rig. So let's see how far we go. Let's start with the essentials. I have a Stomp XL. I want this to be the heart of the rig. I'm going to be placing it up here because the input and output connections are all on the top of the pedal, and having it at the top of the pedal as opposed to, let's say, a position down here, is that if you occupy any pedals up here, it's going to be very difficult to reach into and plug in and out the different things on the back of the Stomp XL. So if you have a pedal that you're going to be frequently connecting things in and out of the IOs, do have pedal placed in a more convenient location. Other non-negotiables, I want to use my Line 6 G10 wireless, which I'm going to add right here. I know that the output of the wireless is going to the input of the HX Stomp XL, and therefore I don't need a very long patch cable. So even at this planning phase, I'm already thinking, what kind of cables do I need? Do I need extra long patch cables, or can I make do with short patch cables? My last non-negotiable is I want to use my Soul Press 2, which is a volume wah combo pedal, and the signal flow that I'm thinking about is going to be like this. It's going to be wireless into the volume pedal and volume pedal out into the Stomp XL. So my initial idea of having that short patch cable between the wireless and the Stomp XL is now void, because now that I've got this guy and I want it to be at the front of the chain, I need a medium length patch cable to go from wireless to the volume, and then a long or medium patch cable from the volume to the Stomp XL. One thing that you're going to be doing a lot with analog pedals and a pedal board is that you're going to be swapping pedals in and out. I recommend setting aside an area that are non-negotiables, your M modeling, your wireless, your utility pedals, things that you will use regardless of the rig. The rest of the space over here is going to be free flow. You can put any pedal you want, swap in and out. I will be using the effects loop from the Stomp XL so that I can insert pedals from here into the Stomp XL. Now I wanted a double HX Stomp rig. Some of you may decry it and go, that's a lot of waste, you might as well buy a Helix. Well, I did an earlier video that will appear up here and in the description box below to tell you about the benefits of having two HX Stomps. And then I want the ToneX ones, two of them, because I'm going stereo. And as you can see, it's not a lot of space. It's mostly taken up already. Do I have enough space for aux switch? Another thing to consider is that if you have your pedals and switches very close to each other, your feet are going to have a hard time to navigate pressing this pedal and this pedal. They are quite close to each other. In general, the HX Stomp has got the right foot spacing so that a foot can comfortably press one pedal without pressing the other. We shall see if this is going to be a problem in real life. Wireless, wah to Stomp XL. Effect send is going to the input of the Stomp, and then the output is going to the ToneX 1 stereo, and then it's just going to go back stereo return into the Stomp XL. So I will need one medium, two medium, mono send to the mono input here, so that's 3 mediums, and then 2 more from the stereo outputs into the ToneX 1, so that's 3, 4, 5 medium patch cables. And then I will need 2 long patch cables to go back into the stereo return of the XL. So that's a total of 5 medium patch cables, 2 long patch cables. I'm gonna write that down so that I don't forget this. 5, 2 times long. And now let's think about power. I have a ToneX DC7. Do check your manual for how many power outlets your power supply has. The DC7 is called 7 because it has 7 outlets. It's in the name. You may think that that is a silly thing to bring up, but I've forgotten that there are only 7 outputs in the DC7. I always think that there are 8. It's not, it's 7 outputs. Each of these HX Stomps will take up 2 slots on the power supply. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've maxed out the outputs on my DC7. Now hang on, I still have my G10 here. Not to worry, the G10 is powered by USB, so I can send a USB out from the ToneX DC7 into the G10 wireless. One thing I forgot I need a TRS cable from the Stomp into the aux switch, because you need a TRS cable for that. So I'm gonna put 1 times TRS cable. Bracket HX Stomp. This is going to be a pick list for later. And now that you've planned out the pedal board with the amount of pedals you have, the amount of patch cables you need, and the power requirements, once you've got all these 3 pieces of information, it's time to go to the building phase. Okay, time to build a board. The mono small is right here, as you can see. And I'm going to flip it around because the first thing that I want to do is address the power supply, which, as you can see, it's been drilled into the board. Very convenient. I'm going to be using 2 Stomps. HX Stomps are tricky devices to power up. They need a current doubler to combine 2 outlets into one, because the HX Stomp needs about 900 milliamps to start up. And then they can't just use a regular plug. They need one of these converter plug. This is a 2.1 millimeter barrel plug, which is smaller than a 2.5 millimeters. Hopefully you can see this. I might have to zoom in, but they are different, quite different from each other. The DC7 has 4 outlets on one side, 3 on the other. I'm going to have both HX Stomps powered from this side just because I like the uniformity of it. Power's all done and connected. You can turn the pedal board around, and then we can start loading up the pedals. Let's do it as per the picture. I like having the ToneXs on the bottom corner of the pedal board because the USB ports for the ToneX ones are at the bottom, and so I like the orientation of the pedals this way so that I can access these quite easily. HX Stomp going in the middle right there. Sol press 2, G10. And as we have predicted, I have a little bit of space here for the aux pedal if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave that empty for now because I am envisioning I'm going to be using the send out of the side here. Let's start to add the power first. Do I have enough? Okay, these two are barely enough. That's another advantage of having a small pedal board. You can easily lift the board and look at stuff if you need to. I realized I'm going to need a much longer power cable to run from this space all the way to the corner here. About this. It's not the neatest, but we'll see what happens later. Last but not least, G10. I need to power this guy using... Yes, it fits. Hey, I've run the power for all the pedals. Now it's time to run the patch cables. Signal flow basics, what you really want to have is an uninterrupted flow from start to finish. Can I use something like this? No, I can't. Nope. I will need a slightly longish one. I'm going to route this to make it nicer looking, I guess. Now we'll figure it out. This is then going into the input of the HX Stomp XL. I'm going to need a pretty long one again. Oh, this is a longish. This is a very long board. Output. Input. Then I need the send returns, mono send to the input of the HX Stomp down there, going to the input. Yeah, it fits. Not bad. Oh, I guess it's good that I got some allowance to move the first HX Stomp slightly upwards here. Okay, I'm gonna need two long ones, which I don't have. Not long enough. All right, I got a call for backup. This is gonna go against some of the aesthetic choices that I've made here. It's gonna be like the channel, English channel perhaps. Yeah, that was a bad joke. Let me just say, and caveat emptor, I am by no means an expert builder. Pretty sure there are guys who can run circles around me with their rigged building skills. And there you have it. You've got, just to double check the work, wireless to the photon to the input one of this Stomp XL. Then it is mono send to HX Stomp, stereo out to the ToneX ones, stereo back into here, and that's it. Welcome to programming, which sounds a lot more intimidating than it actually is. Just think of it as tweaking, but for multi-effects. I've got both my HX Stomp XL and my HX Stomp loaded up. The audio that we hear from this Explorer is just the pure guitar going through the signal path from the input to the output of the Stomp XL. You're not hearing the ToneXs because the ToneXs are in the effects loop of the Stomp XL. First, load up a stereo FX loop left right. What we've just done, we are bringing in the HX Stomp as well as the two ToneX ones. Now it is quite soft and it's deliberate and by choice because I want the ToneX ones to not have that much volume, but if I wanted to, I can crank the volume on the ToneX ones. I can get louder. It's not that much louder, but it is a difference. One of the cool things about ToneX One is that you can bake in external dry effects into the signal when you are capturing it. What I've done with these models is I have baked in a parametric EQ setting, my favorite parametric EQ. Granted, I won't be able to change it in post, but I've never found a situation where I needed to change my parametric EQ settings on the fly. It's kind of like my signature sound, if you will. So not only have I eliminated the need for amp and cap blocks, I've also eliminated the need for a parametric EQ block. Let's try and bring up the signal a bit. This is the exotic SP compressor, my favorite compressor as a starting point. Your results may vary. Okay, that attack was quite high, so I'm going to bring this up a bit. So what I'm thinking about is I'm going to use the Stomp XL as like the dry signal path. All the drives and the pitch effect is going to be here. And I'll use the HX Stomp, the smaller one, as like my wet effects, delays, reverbs. And I could do some creative mixing here because now that I don't have to worry about amps and caps, I can have parallel processing. Just for the sake of speed, I'm going to bring up and I'm going to bring this down. And you see I created a split path. And so the split path is going to be, you're going to be sending signals in both the path 1 and path 2, but I can change the split so that more of it goes into the delays or more of it goes to the reverb to have a separation between the delay and the reverb. Turn this to split A-B so that the A path is through delays and the B path is through reverbs. And this is now effectively a parallel split. I'm going to bring this up to let's say 40% first, so there's more delays versus reverbs. Right. And now I can crank this up because I want this to be like the main .8 delay. If I route this down to 20%, you'll hear more reverb than delay. And just for fun, I'm going to put in a shimmer reverb, 12 seconds. Let's bring this down. Okay, fun. Right, this has been the wet section, so let's try and introduce more gain effects. Oh, I realized you need to consider your DSP usage. I did want to use DSP heavy effects on the Stomps XL, so stuff like the poly capo, which will allow me to play without a capo and down tune. And because today's track is Crowns Down by Gateway Worship, its original key of B flat, with -2 semitones, I'll play this in the key of C. So much easier to play B flat in the key of C. Since we're here, I'm going to add in the simple pitch. This is going to be my octave sound. So bring that up. Then I'm going to add in my drives. Let's add a Minotaur, why not? Stacked. You can see here that we're starting to lose out on, I would have wanted to add in a feedbacker, but now I don't have any DSP for anything else. Maybe I'll put in the LA Studio comp here to do the Jason Sedit's 5.5 setting. So this is a bit more evenly compressed now. Sounds killer. Wow, we are completely out of things to add. All right, if I remove that, I have 2 more blocks to go. What can I do? I'll show you a trick that I like to use for movement. So this is the seeker. And if I add in like an overdrive or something, it sounds really good. Love that sound. All right, okay, I can load up a chorus, which I'll put I'll put here after the drives because I want this sound. Samuel's chorus is a bit mild, but I like that mild chorus, so I'm going to just leave that here. Yep, I'm done with Stomp XL. Let's move over and see what else we can do here. Now remember, because we're setting this mono, right? It's a mono effect send. This part of the signal chain before the split is still mono. And I can put in stuff like, I gotta put in the retro reel, turn this down, saturation at 1, texture at we'll bring it down to 5.5. Like, hear what happens when I combine both the flutter, like let's say a max, and the chorus together. You get this sound. That might be a bit seasicky. Let's turn it down to 9. Let's go with a trem. I'm going to turn this into a 16th note because I like fast trems. Now, that's a sine wave. A sine wave is a smooth edge, and you can hear that the sound isn't choppy. If you want a choppy trem, change this out to the square wave. Now, Tom Morello helicopter thing going on. One more effect. I already have most of the effects that I really like. I see what happened. Let's see what I can do this. Can I copy, move this over here? I can because I have space for it. Can I delete this? And can I add in the looper stereo? Yes, I can. The Stomp XL has a 6-switch looper, which makes it functionally like the big Helix. This combined rig now has the capability of having parallel processing for delay reverbs. It's got enough DSP for a heavy effect like the polycapo where I can tune up and down. And now I have a looper which I can use for those ambient moments where I need those big swells. It's right at the end of the chain, so it's going to capture everything that happens here, especially with the shimmer reverb and the 2 huge reverbs. I think we found the signal path for our tone moving forward. Let's hear how it sounds like in the context of a mix. part of the refinement process is to make a decision as to what options you're going to undertake to improve your pedalboard build. To lay in on how I'm approaching this, I will show you my decision-making matrix, which I do in my head, but I'm mapping it out here so that you can see it visually. And what all this is about is you're able to split apart the important categories that will matter to you. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm going with cost and effort. 4 quadrants: high cost, low effort; high cost, high effort; low cost, low effort; low cost, high effort. Generally, as an Asian man, I do not like to put things in the high cost area, and I always like to look for low cost, low effort, because that is the goal of all of life, isn't it? To have low cost, low effort things. And so I will run the problems in my mind as to what I encountered in this pedalboard build. Problem number 1, we had a USB cable that doesn't fit comfortably on the HX Stomp. I'm going to show some B-roll here, but as you can see, the USB cable doesn't fit very comfortably on the HX Stomp, and that's because the board is too small. I do have a pedal train fly in my storeroom which I can take out, and I can redo the board on a bigger board so that all the cables are nicely laid out and that the cables are a bit more comfortably placed. It's low cost because I already have it, but it's high effort because I need to redo the whole board. So that is going on the lower right quadrant. On the other hand, I have a low cost, low effort solution of buying a right angle adapter so that I can get the USB cable out of the way. It does cost a little bit because I need to get more equipment, but it is low cost, low effort. Problem number 2 that I'm encountering on this board is that the Stomp and the Stomp XL are not tempo synced. As you saw with the programming on the board, some tempo dependent effects like the filter had to be on the first Stomp because I wanted them to be on the same layer as the drives. Consequently, both Stomps ended up having tempo dependent effects. I could conceivably reprogram the board so that all tempo dependent effects are on one Stomp, but that would mean I was to reprogram patches and repatch the board if I wanted the small Stomp to be first in the signal chain so that less connections have to be made. So repatching and reprogramming is going to be on the lower right hand quadrant. On the other hand, I do have MIDI cables lying around. I don't need to spend additional money. I can just connect from the HX Stomp XL to MIDI out into the MIDI in of the HX Stomp, and then I get HX Stomp to listen to the MIDI clock of the Stomp XL. That way both devices' tempo are synced via MIDI clock. Low cost, low effort, so that's going into the bottom left hand corner. The advantage of laying out the decisions like this is to see that when I want to do things with the DIY way without buying additional equipment, I will need to spend time right here in this quadrant. This is going to be a time-consuming quadrant. Whereas on this side of the quadrant, I already have the MIDI cable. I just need to spend a little bit more money on a right angle adapter for the printer cable. This is going to be a lot less time-consuming, and I'm gravitating towards this decision right now. And just for the fun of it, what will options on the high cost, high effort, high cost, low effort look like? Well, let a pro do it. Having a custom pedal board is going to make your rig look amazing. It's going to make it sound amazing because of the premium materials used. But it's also high effort because you need to coordinate between the builder. There are hidden costs like shipping costs where you need to send the pedals to the builder and the builder to send back the rig to you. And a high cost, low effort solution might be to ask the builder to come to your house and do it right there and then. It's unconventional, but maybe this is a service that some builders out there could consider, doing a rig building right in the house. So there you have it. If you followed the video from start to finish, you have the means to build a complete pedal board that consists of multiple multi-effects pedals with your preferred levels of function, utility, versatility, and portability. If you found value in this video, please consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon to grow the channel, join the community, and get YouTube to send us out to more people. Thank you. And that's me. What about you? What's your digital pedalboard going to look like? Is it going to involve analog pedals too? Let us know your signal chain or link us with your video showing your pedalboard in the comments below. And I'll see you in this next video where I talk about the benefits of having a double HX Stomp system. See you there.